file, project, new. And it comes up, asks you for the name of the project, and I'm going to call this Polygon and September 7th, 2010. I like to be descriptive with my stuff. Anybody used to calling their stuff like thing and it and stuff and crap, and the next thing you know you have 100 of those? Be descriptive. They have this really neat function in all the operating systems called search. And so if you're very descriptive in your file names, it's easy to find the stuff that you were missing. Dating your files besides the date that's attached to them, I find it's easier to find what was my last one. Location, I'm going to put this on the D drive. So I'm going to go to my computer, I'm going to go to the D drive. You should notice your D drive probably is completely empty, nothing on it. If this thing ever comes up. There's a nice little folder. I'm going to make a new folder. I'm going to call that folder Craig Simmons. I'm going to open that up. So in this project, two things that I have. One is the name of the project. Two is the location. Space is a problem these days. Spaces.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm just noticing I did something that I never do. I use spaces in my names. And I'm really paranoid because from the old school that always broke everything. I always use underscores instead. But now I have it, so I'm not going to go back. So I'll just leave it at that. So once you set this up, the last thing you got to do when you make a project is you got to use this button that says use defaults. This is why I blame programmers. This should be the default. It fills in that whole list of all the stuff that's going to create. Places for your scenes, that's what this is called. It's called a scene. Places for your images, your source images, which is your textures, particle systems, rendering, depth renders, interactive previews, templates, clips, animation, sound, like it's all organized. So if you hit use defaults, it'll just populate them in. I hit accept. What did that do? All that did was on my D drive, make a folder. I made the Craig Simmons myself. It made a folder called exactly what I called the project. And inside that folder it made a crap load of other folders. The reason you want this is the more complicated your scenes get, everything will be in that folder. You can just take that folder to another computer, continue working. When you save this thing, it's called a scene. It's going to be the hand. It's going to be a very small file. You could just take that one file, which would be fine now because we're only making a model, but as soon as you start texturing, rigging, animating it, you will lose all the other stuff that's attributed. Just pretend I didn't say rigging. So I'm going to go into, I'm going to close that. So now I need to save this thing. You probably saved in lots of applications before. We're going to go save scene. And it's already in Polygon hand, September, scene. So I'm just going to give it a name. I'm going to call it hand version 1. And again, I tend not to use spaces. I'd forgotten about that. I always use underscores. Polyhand version 1, going 0. Version 1, version 2. I always increment. I never save over something, hardly ever. Because you'll find that something gets corrupt in these programs, and then you'll go back, and it's like, oh my god, it's corrupt like 5 versions ago. So save as much stuff as you can. Next time I save, I'll call it version 2, version 3. And I'm lazy. I usually don't use version. I'll just go Polygon hand 1, 2, 3, 4.